Why don't we fly to the moon anymore? When we think of the moon, the first thing that comes to mind is the Apollo missions. In 1969, Neil Armstrong became the first human to step onto the lunar surface. This event marked one of the greatest achievements in human history. But here's the question. If we managed to do this more than 50 years ago, why aren't we going back to the moon now? First, let's understand why we went to the moon in the first place. In the mid-20th century, the world was divided between two superpowers, the USA and the USSR. The space race was a political and technological competition, and landing on the moon was a way for the United States to prove its dominance. The Apollo 11 mission not only demonstrated humanity's capability, but also served as a significant geopolitical milestone. However, after a few years, interest in the moon started to wane. From 1969 to 1972, 6 successful moon landings were conducted. All were significant achievements, but after Apollo 17, lunar missions stopped. Why? The main reason was cost. The Apollo program cost the United States around $25 billion, which, adjusted for inflation, is over $150 billion today. That's an enormous expense, especially when the moon didn't offer immediate economic benefits. In a time of economic uncertainty and pressing domestic issues, space exploration became a lower priority. Another reason was the lack of clear goals. Once humanity had reached the moon, the question arose, what's next? Much of the lunar surface was studied, samples were collected, and the general public began to feel there was nothing new to gain from going back. Let's not forget the risks. Space remains an incredibly dangerous place. Every mission poses a threat to astronauts' lives. For example, during Apollo 13, the crew narrowly survived after an oxygen tank exploded. While the crew was saved, this incident highlighted the peril of such missions. But here's the thing. Interest in the moon never really disappeared. It simply shifted. Instead of focusing on lunar landings, space agencies turned their attention to building space stations, launching telescopes, and exploring Mars with robotic rovers. But now, talk of returning to the moon is louder than ever. Why the renewed interest? For one, the moon could be a key stepping stone for exploring other planets. Its surface contains resources like water in the form of ice, which can be used to produce oxygen, water, and even rocket fuel. This makes the moon an ideal location for building a base that could support future missions to Mars and beyond. Second, going back to the moon isn't just about prestige anymore. It's also about economic potential. Imagine mining the moon for resources like helium-3, a rare isotope that could be used as fuel for nuclear fusion reactors. This could revolutionize energy production on Earth. Third, private companies have entered the space race. Companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are developing technologies that make space exploration cheaper and more accessible. What was once possible only for governments is now being driven by private investments and innovation. NASA's Artemis program is planning to return humans to the moon by the end of this decade. Unlike Apollo, the goal isn't just to visit the moon, but to establish a permanent presence. Imagine a lunar base where astronauts can live and work, using the moon's resources to sustain themselves. So, while it's true that humans haven't been to the moon in over 50 years, it doesn't mean we've forgotten about it. Instead, we're preparing to return with better technology, clearer goals, and a vision for the future. Do you think we'll see lunar settlements in the coming decades? What's the next big step for humanity in space exploration?